Hey everyone and welcome back to a new video. So we know Age of Sigmar's 4th edition is on the horizon, set for release sometime this summer, and already the leaks are starting to rear their heads. Not that long ago a new Skaven sprue made the rounds online, and I shared a video explaining how we actually saw what this is in a recent Dawnbringer Chronicles story, along with a few teasers for other Skaven models that might also be on the way. Today, however, we're taking a closer look at a far more blunt leak, namely the 4th edition core rulebook, which has been cited and photographed all seemingly on a Samsung flip phone from 2009. Now, to be clear, there's not any big revelations, we haven't seen the rules yet, but I still wanted to talk about what we've seen because there's a few interesting things we can still discuss even at face value. So if you're keen to peer into the pixelated with me, then let's jump right in. So let's look at the main photo, which shows a stack of core rulebooks that are clearly for the new edition. We've got brand new cover art, a white coloured variant of the book for what I presume will be the time limited launch box, and a couple of language variants in French and I think German. When you translate Grundbuch from German to English, it comes out as Land Register, so here's hoping that's not another misprint. Turning straight to the cover art though, we've got a brand new Stormcast figure. The Stormcast Eternals, being the Space Marines of AOS, typically get the spotlight for the core books, so no surprise here. But straight off the bat, part of me wishes we've got something more akin to the new 10th edition 40k core book. With that, the cover is of a grim battle scene between Chaos and Imperial Space Marines, and it really presents to new and existing players alike the sort of setting they're stepping into. Here it just feels a bit more relaxed, and given all the speculation that the Skaven are about to attack Azir itself, it feels like AOS could also capture a bit of that grim dark energy and put it front and centre of its main book. But in any case, this Stormcast seems to be new. I've scanned all of the Stormcast models from the Warhammer store and there's nothing that looks quite like this, particularly with this prominent sun icon. So in the first instance, we could possibly see this as a preview of the new Stormcast chamber that is set to be opened, and probably out of desperation if those rumours of Azir's peril are to be believed. On the special edition, you get a better sense of the character, including what I think looks like a hammer given the handle and the way the character is resting on it. And that brings to mind a lot of speculation we've been hearing recently about a new Berserker themed chamber, which plays more to brute strength over anything else. And yet part of me also wonders if this could be a rework of the Retributors. They were some of the first Stormcast models to come out in 2015, and their hammers are very similar to this one. Given we know the Liberators are getting reworked in 4th edition, and we saw their new look in the recent Realms of Ruin game, could Games Workshop be tackling a few more of those earlier ranges? Given a few of them are out of stock right now, I'm very open-minded about that. In any case, the book cover also begs the question of whether this is a unit or a named character. There's no real pattern that suggests that it's definitely one or the other, but with the arrival of Indrasta in Dominion, I think we should be prepared to see a new special character arriving in the launch set in a few months' time. More importantly though, if we look at the back cover of the book, we can make out the clear figure of a Skaven. It doesn't prove anything as such, but I think it near enough puts to bed any doubts that the Skaven are getting a lot of focus in this new edition. Moving on from the cover though, the other photos all show page inserts for the book itself. The first we see is the updated section covering the Mortal Realms, and I'm really curious what this artwork is depicting. You can make out the banners and horses of the cities of Sigmar, but the monstrous creature looks a lot like a Skaven Hell Pit abomination. I can just make out multiple sets of arms, and that arching shape looks incredibly reminiscent of that hideous model. Plus, scurrying below are these small creatures with blades, and overlooking goblins or hobgoblins, I sense these are probably Skaven Night Runners or Clan Rats. Again, given all the expectation for Skaven being the poster antagonist of 4th Ed, it's not unsurprising to see new artwork depicting them at war, and I can't wait to see more of that hopefully in the core book and their own battle tone, which should be following closely on the heels of 4th's launch. Moving along, we get a glimpse at another bunch of pages which, annoyingly, don't show anything particularly new. We can see the familiar artwork of the Celestant Prime and Soulblight Gravelords, but it does seem we're getting some updated artwork for the realms themselves. We can see Gur pictured here, and it's coloured and scaled differently compared to the entry in the 3rd edition book, so that'll be interesting to see once we get our hands on it. I just wish we could get a closer look at that greenish army image we can see in the back here. It could be a Nurgle army or even Sylvaneth, but with Skaven on the mind, my thinking jumps to Warpstone, and so that could well be showing off all the potential new Skaven models, but alas, it's just out of sight for now. And finally, the last image we have shows us a bit of the lore from the book, and I sense it's part of the recap of the Age of Chaos. The core book typically goes through the main timeline of the AOS mythos, bringing new and existing players up to speed on what's happened, and given the references to demons and this menacing Chaos warrior we can see, it feels like it's part of that. But what I really like is the aesthetic, the way it weaves in these full page and even double page pieces of art into the presentation of the lore. We certainly got a lot of that in the previous core books, but this feels very different, and given this is the 4th time some of us have been through this content, it's nice to know that GW has tried to make it look and feel as fresh as possible. Of course, with the conclusion of the recent Dawnbringer Crusades and the impending events we're seeing play out in some of the recent teasers, we'll have to see what new era we're about to head into and just how that's illustrated in the pages of this new book, and I for one can't wait. So that's a very brief look at what we've seen from the leaked 4th edition core book. Again, no massive revelations, but it's interesting to see the new aesthetic and consider what some of this art, pixelated as it is, might be telling us. But what do you think? Are we getting a new Stormcast chamber or a rework of older models? And what do you make of this glimpse? Does it get you excited for what we're bound to see in the coming weeks? And what else do you want to see? Let me know in the comments section. And as always, a big thank you for joining me today. If you liked the video, do click the like button and subscribe if you'd like to join me for future Warhammer videos when we actually do see the proper 4th edition announcements, and I hope to see you for those. But until then, take care.